Israel's onslaught against Hamas terrorists continues. Israeli fighter jets have picked up the intensity of airstrikes. Troops and tanks continue with the ground offensive. They are now completely in the northern parts of the Gaza Strip. The Israeli army says that Gaza has been split in half. Palestinians in the north have been asked to flee south. The northern half of Gaza is completely cut off, and civilians have no escape route left. The Gaza Strip has 3 border crossings. The Erez crossing is in northern Gaza. It allows the movement of people between Israel and Gaza and is heavily guarded and monitored by Israel. The other 2 border crossings are in the south. The Kerem Shalom connects Gaza to Egypt, but it's strictly used by commercial vehicles. The third and final point of connection is the Rafah crossing. It's the southernmost point in Gaza and opens up into Egypt's Sinai Peninsula. With the other 2 crossings shut, Rafah is the only corridor that can be used for humanitarian aid. And it's already seeing heavy truck movement carrying aid for Palestinians in Gaza. Egypt and Israel had shut the Rafah crossing after Hamas took over Gaza. The 2 countries say the blockade was done as part of security measures. Egypt has been particularly strict over keeping the border crossing closed. According to the United Nations, in August, Egypt allowed only about 19,000 people to leave Gaza, and over 300 people were even denied exit. Egypt says that opening the Rafah crossing could lead to security problems and a refugee crisis.
Also, I need to stress the importance of not allowing Palestinians to be displaced from Gaza into Sinai. This is too dangerous and might end the Palestinian cause. This is something that we are keen not to happen.
Egypt feels that the moment the Rafah border is opened, thousands of Palestinians will leave Gaza and flood Egypt's Sinai region, which will weaken their demands. But with the humanitarian situation in Gaza deteriorating and international pressure mounting, opening Rafah may become the focal point. When Israel began its operations in Gaza, all 3 crossings, including the Rafah border, were completely shut, leaving the Palestinians with no route to escape or receive aid from. Israel says that Hamas terrorists control the part of the Rafah crossing inside Gaza. But international pressure mounted to open it.
We have seen so many trucks loaded with water, with fuel, with medicines, with food. Exactly the same thing that are needed on this side of the wall. So these trucks are not just trucks. They are a lifeline. They are the difference between life and death for so many people in Gaza.
Even Israel's most staunch supporters like the US and UK demanded the opening of the Rafah border.
The humanitarian situation is one which, of course, we're concerned about and that I've raised in all the calls and interactions I've had with other leaders from across the region, and in particular making sure that we can try and get the Rafah crossing open. That will ease the humanitarian situation.
And after a round of negotiations and talks with Egypt, the Rafah border crossing finally opened.
We have put in place, and Egypt has put in place, a lot of material support for people in Gaza. And Rafah will be open. We're putting in place with the United Nations, with Egypt, with Israel, with others, the mechanism by which to get the assistance in.
Hundreds of trucks carrying food, water and medicines entered Gaza. But that wasn't it. Political negotiations were in store again, this time to facilitate civilian movement from the Rafah crossing. Foreigners and dual citizen Americans were allowed to leave Gaza.
It's true we left the war, but our hearts are still there. My entire family is still there. I hope they will be fine and that the war stops. I want to say, after our time living abroad, why can't we come to have a good time in our homeland like everyone else in other Arab countries? When are we going to arrive in an airport? Till when will the situation be like this? It's a tough thing.
And now Palestinians have found a glimmer of hope. They are flocking in the thousands to reach the Rafah crossing in hopes of being allowed to leave Gaza and escape the bloody war between Israel and Hamas terrorists.